I wanted to do something that was just fun for everybody, and so that handout that I sent, it's got a killer lick, a couple killer licks that work on almost any style. But this kind of surf rock where you can play anything, rockabilly, country, blues, any of that stuff is so fun, and I think that's a good place for all of us to hang out, you know, or a good place for all of us to stretch out with, no matter what style that we're doing here. Okay, so on the handout might be stuff you guys have seen before, but I really wanted to really get down with playing a blues scale in the open position. You may have seen that before, but as a like, if maybe whether you've seen it before or not, looking at that as like a default place to go to create a phrase is always going to work. It's always going to sound super badass. You know, you're playing, say you're running out of ideas up here, and you just switch to going like, that's always going to really make a cool, not only dramatic but very musical thing. So you guys take a look at this blues scale in E with the open position. So even if you were like playing rumble, Rumble's got the E minor pentatonic. So using that blues scale or that E minor pentatonic down in the open position, always going to be money. And I typically don't tell people to just like play a scale over a song or just use only scales. I'd like to get people like playing chords and accenting what chord's happening, which we're going to do in a minute. But as a default place to go, clearly up on the 12th fret, if you play your blues scale, that's going to be money as well. But I really think that if you start going like, hey, I'm out of ideas, this will be a great place to really put periods at the end of your sentences, or your phrases rather, or just add something super, super dynamic to your solo. So just do a little demonstration of that. I'm just going to keep going back to it. even if you've already played it, take on that, using the open strings for anything bluesy, anything country or bluesy or rootsy. Using the open strings to play phrases is a money move. A great way to just set yourself apart and make something really musical. Because it occurs to me that the guitars that we like have something special about the open strings. Like, so if some cats are, you know, I like Les Pauls and stuff, although I never play them. I have a couple. The open strings just aren't the same. But if you're playing a Telecaster or a Strat or something, a lot of time, just getting that, there's something about the attack and the open strings, and using this blues scale or the other scales that I put on the PDF are going to be incredible moves to do. So I also put some major pentatonic scales on that list, or on that handout. We may not have time to go into those, because I first wanted to go into these chords that will also make you much more fun to play with. So if you look on the handout at the top, the first chord is on the 7th, it's in the 5th position, but the root is how I think of it, on the 5th string. So the root is also on the 2nd string as well, but I'm thinking about finding myself with my 3rd finger on the 7th fret. It already sounds like a Creedence song. And typically I steer people away from going into bar chords, but occasionally if you use this, I took a few jazz guitar lessons from this dude in Hawaii who was amazing. He always called this the blues dominant 7th chord, the blues 7 chord. I always thought that it was too much, 6 strings. But if you're playing a surf rock kind of style, or you want to break it up, meaning play the bass notes and then the treble notes, almost like thinking that the low notes are the bass drum and the high notes are the snare drum, it becomes very powerful, this bar chord shape. So I'm playing A7 right now, which should be on the chart that I sent you guys. Yeah. So when I play these bar chords, I'm not playing the whole thing. Not a good idea. It's going to cut through the whole band. The keyboard player, or everyone's going to tell you you're too loud. But the idea is play the bass notes with the bass drum and the high notes with the snare drum. And it's great for soul music, great for blues music, funk, anything like that. So my A7 is on the 5th fret, and then my B7 is on the 7th fret. So just with those 3 shapes, if you can get this guy under your fingers, whoops. There's my E chord, there's my A chord, and here's my B chord. So just getting to where you're going to use those with the snare drum, or creating some kind of texture where you let the bass player play on 1 and 3, but then you hit these stabs with your electric guitar on 2 and 4, you're going to create this super groove. And if you've been hanging out and doing guitar with me for a little while, you'll hear me say play with the snare drum all the time, because that's what's really going to make your rhythm guitar playing come together. You know, these.
So the high strings, are you playing 1 and 2 or 2 and 3?
I'm just aiming. I'm hitting like 3 strings, 4 strings. Yeah.
Okay. But on the up, same thing going up.
Yeah, and for now I'm hitting them both with downstroke. You'll see. Let me demonstrate. Let's do a little demonstration.
Okay, but you're doing them all. I mean, you're doing the bottom 3, bottom 4.
Stuart, great question.
Top 3, top 4.
If I'm honest, I'm kind of just hitting the bass note, but I got the whole thing on there, so I don't have to be too accurate. It's more about thinking like the guitar is like a drum. Bum, 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 bum. So the low notes are the bass, like the bass notes of the piano, and the high notes are the high notes. I'm kind of, it doesn't have to be exact, but so yes, the answer to your question is maybe just hit the bass note. But you got the whole thing on there so that you can, yeah. Let me show my demonstration. So here, I'm just hitting 2 and 4. So can you guys hear the track enough to hear that I'm playing with the snare drum only? And in fact, this track, I don't know if it's loud enough, but it's on the chart.
The track could be a little louder, but you can hear it.
I'll see if I can turn it up. The snare drum on this track is actually going 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. I'm now remembering a killer use of these chords for rhythm guitar is if you're familiar with Duke Robillard, he's got a tune called "Do the Memphis Grind," and it's a little bit slower than the same key, but he ends up doing stuff like this, where like on the E chord, he's actually playing that same shape but on the 12th fret, and so the song's a little slower, so it's like he's going. Wait a minute, you can't do that. You can't just breaking the rules. You can't start a half step below and just lead into it. Super fun. If you have this bar chord shape down, just give that a try real fast. I'm starting from a half step away from the 12th fret. Man, if we were at a party and I didn't know you guys, and someone's like, "Hey, play guitar," you guys just jam, and you came with that, like, "Hey, let's play this riff." We'd instantly be best friends because that shit is tasty. If you're jamming with people and somebody just starts in with this classic, it would be real hip to just come in with this. You wouldn't want to double this. You hear that, you're gonna go. Or maybe even one of these. Maybe. You gotta do it tastefully. This is pretty high up and pretty aggressive. Anyway. Cool. Quickly, just going over what's on that PDF, we also have these major pentatonic things. Major pentatonic scales. E. They have the flat 3 in there, so it's a major pentatonic, but I'm adding the minor third. They sound pretty bluegrassy, but I started really using them when I got really into Freddie King. So super, super useful when you want to immediately go somewhere twangy and somewhere different than if everybody's playing and you start making phrases out of, you're like, wow. Let's do a little demo of that, actually. So, actually, before I do the demo, I just want to play them one more time. I got E. I got A. And I got B. Major pentatonic. And if you guys remember last time we had the Twang Hang, we were using these grips to play our major pentatonic chords. All that stuff would be great on here too. I intentionally did a different key than the previous 2 sessions so that we could tie it all together and really start playing all over the neck. Okay, here's your demo. So because those major pentatonic scales have so many chord tones in it, they're mostly chord tones, you can just move them around to whatever the chord is happening. If you recall, last time we were talking about shifting our phrases to match the chord that was happening. This is a great way to do it, and you get so much mileage out of these major pentatonic sounds. I personally like to play a major pentatonic phrase and then go back to a blues phrase, similar to Freddie King. Alright, so the main reason I wanted to do this kind of surfy thing today is because anybody can play on this thing. If you only know minor pentatonic, it's gonna sound great on this. It's gonna sound really, really fun. So, of course, I put all these scales on the PDF. I don't necessarily want you guys just hanging out, sweating to learn a bunch of scales. I want you to enjoy and have music. So I'm gonna put this backing track on YouTube as well and send it to you guys so you can use this backing track. But the drummer on this is this killer drummer that I know here in Nashville, and so I actually hired him to do some work for another song, but I still had all those drum tracks, and so then I made this so that we could jam to it, because he just feels so good. And as you start to pick up these scales, or you want to pick up these phrases, if you're using the method that we were talking about, using the chords last time, either one, and you're just adding little things every time, like, okay, I feel good with the minor pentatonic, maybe I want to add one of these major pentatonic runs or something. As you play, have fun with it. That's really where you're going to get the most gains. You're already winning if you're playing something musical with anything that you know. So I'm going to show you kind of a default thing that I do where I'm like, I want to play a phrase that responds to another phrase. So what I do is like almost like a call and response. And let's see if I could do it with all you guys watching, you know. So I'm going to go minor pentatonic and then major pentatonic. Minor pentatonic and then major pentatonic. Or access the chord and then go back to something bluesy. You can think of that in two different ways. All right. Just trying to make some kind of theme where it all comes together. My initial kind of Freddie King or even Jimmy Vaughn lick, and then something kind of twangy. Just experimenting and trying to make something that kind of made sense. You know, we see a lot of guitar players out there that they just have these run-on sentences. It doesn't seem to do much, but I like to you know, make a little story. Yeah.
Could you do that again and just call out minor, major, just so we kind of visually can sense where you're at that moment in time?
Yeah, that's a great...
Because you kept switching back and forth, right? So
yeah.
You could just say minor, major.
In fact, I'm only going to use the stuff on the PDF. So I'm only going to use the E major pentatonic that's on that handout, the A major pentatonic, and the B major, and the blues scale. So I'm switching between blues scale and those major pentatonics back and forth, and I'll call it out while I'm playing. Would that help? Okay, great. E major pentatonic. E minor pentatonic. B major. A major. I didn't like it. Let me try minor first. A major. E minor pentatonic. B. E minor pentatonic. E major. A major. Kind of E minor. E minor. Okay, Joe, you gave me an idea. Sometimes when I have my students start working on major pentatonic ideas, I have them play. So let's see here. How can I explain this in a way? On the one chord, I have them play E major pentatonic. Everything else, I have them play E minor pentatonic. So then you're switching only between two different scales, two different sounds. And I think that is probably the first place to start. So let me say it again. On the E chord, anytime the E chord comes, I'm playing E major pentatonic, just to make some music. And any other chord, the A chord or the B chord, I play E minor pentatonic. Let's hear what that sounds like. This is the great place to start. You're helping me every time, Joe. You're helping me more than you realize. All right. E chord, I'm playing major. Other chords, I'm playing minor. With pentatonics only. Major. Minor. Major. Minor. Major. Again. Try it again. Yeah, I've been using the muddy waters like too much. Major. Okay, now I'm going to go up here and do the same thing, only in the 12th position. I'm going to play my E major pentatonic. And E minor pentatonic, or blues scale, however you want to think of it. Only going to switch between those two. On the E chord, I'm playing major, and the other chords, I'm playing minor or blues scale. Right now, I'm using those words interchangeably. The blues scale is a minor scale. Here we go. So this is moving pretty fast. I want to actually do it slower for you guys. Unless everybody's like, oh, I got it. Let's move on. I actually want to do it slower because that was pretty, this track is moving pretty quick. E chord.
Yeah, slow it down.
Yeah, so E chord. E. A chord. I'm back on the E chord. B chord. A. Back to E. Yeah, so even if I could do that on a slow blues. That would be cool. A. Now I'm going to play minor. Major. So I got the B chord. A. Back to major. So.
Question. So
Yes.
you did major, minor. I think at some point earlier you did minor first, major. Is there a preference to major, minor?
Yeah, in fact, you really helped me to make it more succinct because if you're going to play the major sounds, it needs to reference the chord that's happening. So in the case that I just had, on the E chord, I was playing E major pentatonic. And the other chords, I just played minor pentatonic or blues scale. That's because the minor pentatonic or blues scale works on everything. You don't even have to change. You could just make some badass phrases. I mean, so I was just highlighting the E chord and playing major on the E chord with E major pentatonic. This is when it starts to be like real confusing. If I wanted to do it on the other chords, I would need to play the major pentatonic that matched that chord. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if it's the B chord and I wanted to play a major sound, best bet is going to be the B major pentatonic. If it's the A chord. In fact, I'm glad you bring this up. If you play E major pentatonic over the 4 chord, it's going to sound weird. So that is one thing that you want to keep an eye out. Like, oh, there's one place I'm definitely not playing E major pentatonic. It's on A.
Right. Right.
So that E major pentatonic is 1, 2, and 3. So, or you can, singers would think of it as do, re, and mi. But I'm adding the chromatic note or the half step in between those, which is the blue note. That's the minor third. Mm-hmm. If you guys aren't familiar with these terms, that's fine. It doesn't matter. It's more about getting you to playing the stuff that you want to play. So yes, that's a good observation, Joe. Anytime you're going to start on the root, you can definitely do that 3 half steps in a row. You get so much mileage out of that too. Sounds like pretty wacky. Kind of bluegrassy, country stuff. Before we move on, I think that this is really a good exercise, no matter where you're at in your playing. I want you to play a major phrase and then play a minor phrase. So you look at both of them, even if you only got them in one octave. Just go back and forth between major and minor. I should really get this together. Go back and forth between your major pentatonic and your blues scale. Play a phrase with one and then play another. It doesn't have to be any crazy phrase. It could be, okay, now I'm going to go to minor. Just getting your mind in that place where it doesn't have to sound good even. You're just intentionally making different sounds. So I just want you guys to do that for a minute. Not even with the track, just go for it. Just fiddle around with that. And if you've been playing for a while, before I said, if you've been playing for a while, you got some licks that you like, play the lick that you like. And then play a major lick. Just try it, look to see it and discover it in a new way if you've done this before. So just go for it. And I'll hang out for just a second. So, I don't want to forget this. On that PDF, I wrote out a solo with a couple of the licks I was playing. You may have seen these before, but if we're going to take the time to learn open position scale, I wanted you to have these licks. So I'm going to try to play the solo that I wrote on the PDF. But my memory is not as good, so I'm going to just... See, I'll do the best, but it has these like kind of Muddy Waters, Hubert Sumlin licks that work everywhere. Any style of music. It's country song, blues song, rockabilly song. So I'm going to see if I can play this thing. Pretty simple solo, but good way to get these licks working. Here we go. I missed it. Let's try it again. I'll wait till it comes back. Here we go. Okay, I got it. But I really wanted you guys to have this, clearly. I've been playing that a lot today. But also, sliding into that E on the second string, 5th fret, letting the first string ring. Super money. And then this guy, again, varying the rhythm on that at the end of the whole thing. And then basically just playing the scale going down at the end of the solo. Great way to set it off and get started. Especially if you're just warming up or you're nervous. Start with a phrase where you can leave a long space. Big old whole bar. If you're looking at the PDF that I'm looking at, there's a whole bar of just wait. Actually, I called it surf country, but I think that there's a different vibe that would happen with the telly. Just wanted to play on this one more time. Anybody get any questions or anything you want me to cover before I... See if I make it sound really freaking country. Here we go. Doing my best Telecaster thing on top of it. Super fun for surf rock. Okay, let me try to do my best Freddie King now. You guys got to stop me if you have a question or something. I'm just having fun with this damn track now.